Team, welcome to Live on Friday at the Lightbox.
Here we are.
With special guest.
We've got special
John
guest, John Sorority.
Welcome, John, again.
We've had John here before.
We have.
Great to have you.
Look at this. We're just talking about the
Colours.
greens and the purples, complementary colours.
And we're looking $1 million too, by the way.
We are
And
looking.
so are you, Roz.
You're
How's it
looking
going?
wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
Greetings, Timmy Anderson.
Tim Anderson, straight
Can
in.
you get two glasses of ice for Anton, please,
Geez,
or he
you're
will
good.
start
Thanks, love.
complaining to me that I didn't ask for them.
I will not.
Beautiful staff at the Lightbox,
Are they
once
great?
again looking after us.
Just like banshees.
Yes. So how's your week been?
Oh, a great week.
You've been
Talking
busy,
through-
you said.
Like a banshee.
Yeah, it's been
Like
a
a bit
crazy week.
Productive,
Everyone-
not busy. Productive.
Yeah, productive. That's right. Yes.
So
Good
got
distinction
some,
there.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
that's right.
Oh, we don't use busy.
Nancy, is Nancy in the
Nancy's on.
kitchen?
Nancy's
Nancy
here
must
somewhere.
be in the kitchen. She
She
makes
works
the
here.
beautiful food here at the
And
Lightbox.
Yusuf, good on
Oh,
you, Jen.
Yusuf.
Thanks for joining.
Love hearts to you, Nick.
So yeah, massive, because we're only 2 weeks away from our next retreat. We've
Yes,
got
we are.
10 people, which is can't wait.
And-
Brendan Waters has joined us. That's cool.
Hello, Brendan, my
Okay.
son. How are you,
So
darling?
cool. And Roz is on a journey with us, so she's
Yes.
sort of come on board
Got my
to
guinea green on
one of our
Guinea
programs.
group
And
green.
she's,
for Friday.
Roz has got sort of a heap of value before. Thank you so much, girl. Oh, can I keep that? Is that okay? I'm going to keep the lemon. Is that all right? Thanks. And
Excuse us, passing across.
so little Rozzy girls all over the presentation.
And I have to give a huge plug to Anton and the Guinea group
Oh,
because the
stop it.
coaching is fantastic
Stop it.
that I am getting.
Stop it.
And if anybody wants
Stop
to
it.
get better and more confident at public speaking, he's your man.
Yes, indeed.
Here's your man. And I can't wait for the retreat because there's going to be some great people there.
Oh, can't wait.
And you're going to teach us a lot.
Can I tell you who I'm really excited to hear?
Who?
The guest speaker.
Well, Lindsay's coming.
Okay.
So the next president of the National Speakers Association.
Oh, wow.
There's a lady coming called Kerry Atherton. And she
Mm.
nearly bailed on us last night. Thanks, Kerry. She was
Hey,
going to
Terry.
the November workshop, so we pulled that back. Thank God. You'd love Kerry.
Okay.
She's just written her first book on stories of hope. So people that have had tragedy in their life,
Mhm.
how they bounce back. So she was,
Wow.
she suffered from major addiction as a teenager, alcoholism, and a whole range of other stuff. And she's bounced back herself, and other people. She's helped other people do it. Now other people share their story, and she's put it in the
Wow.
book, Stories of Hope.
Good on her.
Like the stuff she's seen, and she talks about. Hello, Natalia Muscat. How are you, girl? Go to
Hello,
counsellors.
Natalia.
Got a
Haven't seen you
counsellor
for a
on
while.
board. Can't wait to
She's
sit.
always busy. Natalia.
Yes.
Oh, and speaking of counsellors, our conversation last week
Yeah,
regarding
tripping
not last week,
2
week
weeks
before,
ago.
Anton was away again, always tripping around. And we were talking about the leadership, and we were talking about the councillors, and Anton's going to run for council, we reckon.
Yeah. I think we should.
And we were talking about the rates and how hard it is to get into a position such as councillor on the local council.
Mhm.
And I have spoken with Matt Burnett. He has locked in that he will be coming
Come
up
and
to
talk
have
to
another
us.
chat to us live.
Which is great.
Which is great because he is in a position of very much of a position of leadership. So it would be great to get Matt back on and talk about leadership in the council and the challenges, because everyone does have a lot of questions about the recent rates notices
And
and,
thanks, I
other
suppose,
things.
what's going on around the
Topical
place.
issue.
It is, yes.
And,
so,
you were
and Matt's
saying
more
that-
than happy to have a very open discussion on our law.
Isn't that great? And you were saying Matt was pretty positive about the way we handled ourselves that day, because we're positive. We don't.
Well, he did, and I mean,
shit,
I think
right?
it's nice. You would hear a lot of anyone
Negative.
in those positions would have a lot of backlash. It's
Yeah.
like anyone being well known, they're
Living
always
in
going to
public.
cop stuff from somebody. But we did acknowledge that it's a really
Tough
think
job.
it's a really difficult thing to put your hand up to represent your community in any.
Vote by Mr. Guinea. Go, Donna. Thanks, love.
Thank you, Donna. Donna's been busy with her lives this week.
She
She's
has.
rocking the lives.
I know. Everyone's
Loving
rocking
it,
the lives.
Donna.
Omar's rocking it.
Yes.
Crystal's hubby, he's going nuts. He's got the earphones on and doing his thing.
Yes.
And someone on Donna put up a post of reading one of my books the other day, and I bought a book for that particular individual who wanted one. Said, "Can I get one?" I said, "Absolutely." So I told her I'm going to be here, so I got a book here for you if you want one. And anyone else ever that wants a book, yell out. So there's my
Definitely worth the read.
and
So,
come and grab one.
Anton's books.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, and Denise Ambrose, who was our special guest a few lives ago, talking about her little fruit tablets. Denise,
Oh, yeah.
she does a lot of lives. So her
Yeah.
and Greg are very active on Facebook with their lives.
Lucy
So
Jones has joined.
Matt Jones and
Ex-owner of the
Leanne
Club
Patrick.
Hotel.
Leanne posted
she's
about
crazy.
the anniversary of her son with his medical issues today. So a lot of people going through challenges and triumphs. So
That's it. And so what's going on in Gladstone? Actually, why don't we throw to John? What's going on in Gladstone this afternoon, bro?
We're doing the man walk.
Holy
Something
shit.
very
Friday
exciting.
afternoons, man walk. We kick off at 5 o'clock. We meet at 5 o'clock and we head off at 5:30. We walk across the bridge onto the Marina Parklands area there. We facilitate it by starting off with the topic.
Mm-hmm.
We have a topic that we talk about, and we talk from one point to the next, and we stop, and then we all do a share. So whoever you want to walk with, you walk and you just share and you talk.
Great.
You get to the destination, we talk about it, and then we give another issue, another topic to talk about, and then we just keep on walking and go to the next destination, and we stop and we start talking.
So we should probably mention that this is your business,
It is.
Affinity Life Coaching, John is from, and you run Inside
Tribe.
Yeah, so just give, for anyone who doesn't know John, we have had him on before, but just give Insight Tribe a quick plug because that is connected to the
So Insight Tribe is a facility where we have groups. We have 3 separate groups. We have the Insight Men's Circle. So we work with men to support men through crisis. We have Insight Women's Circle. We have 2 ladies that facilitate the women's group. We had our meeting last night. The women's group was a big group. The men's group was an exceptionally big group. We had 18 men perform, turn up for the night. We had 2 new visitors as well, which was really nice to have. And it was good to have Russ back. Russell has been away working on shutdown, so he's been away for quite a while, and it was great to have him back.
Yeah, he's a good lad, ain't he?
We did our teamwork again. We facilitated some amazing growth work for one of the new men that came last night, so it was fantastic.
It's a really great support, and I have to say I did attend one of the recent meetings that the mixed.
That's called the Insight Circle. Insight Circle is where men and women come together, so we talk about relationships, and you hear a perspective from both the men and the women, so it's a
Really worthwhile,
great
definitely.
opportunity.
And you've been away recently for something as well, haven't you?
Last week? Well, last week it was the Four-Wheel Drive Club,
Big Friday.
representing Gladstone's Four-Wheel Drive Club.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I put my hand up, became the president of the Gladstone Four-Wheel Drive Club.
He's a busy man.
Sure.
So we went down to Corroboree.
Oh,
Corroboree is like a meeting of all different tribes. So we had all clubs, the different four-wheel drive clubs of Queensland came together, and we met at Blackbutt. Very
Blackbutt?
dusty, very dirty.
What a shit of a joint. So said with love. There's a big range there. Said with love.
It's magic.
We had to ride up that thing to get to Brizzy, push bike up the Blackbutt Range.
Yep.
Try that on for fun. Right.
It'd be dry there, wouldn't it, at the moment?
That.
It's just so dusty, so dusty. It's just
Natalia's just said that she attended Insight Tribe a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
so
Yes,
well worth it.
yes.
Very
Hello
well.
from Moranbah.
Carl's out in Moranbah. Hello, Carl.
we want to meet you, get you to come back again, Natalia. It was great.
Oh,
we had
really?
Scott there last night. He came
Hi,
to the
Scott.
Insight Men's Group.
Oh, Scott Alexander.
No, Scott Kruger. Natalia's partner.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. Cool.
No, it's really, really worthwhile. And if anybody wants any more information, we will post the link to your Facebook page on here. And this is part of Insight Tribe.
I
Yeah.
just want to quickly jump in. The council is promoting all different clubs and organisations here in Gladstone next week. They've got it on Facebook, on web pages, and on the radio. They're advertising it. They've got banners everywhere. Come and experience, come and try out different experiences. So
Wow,
on
that's
Monday
great.
afternoon in Marina Parkland, you're most welcome to come along to have a yarn to the people from the Four-Wheel Drive Club.
Yeah.
Have a look at some of the vehicles and some of the gear that we use, and we can talk about recovery
That'd
and
be
talk about
exciting.
trips. And
Four-Wheel Drive Club would be exciting.
Let's give the council a shout out.
Oh, wow. We've
Let's-
got a big party right near us
We need to
today.
be somewhere else today, don't we?
We should turn the music down.
Scott's watching here with me. Good on you, Scott and Natalia. You know what I think? I hear council supporting
Hi,
locals.
Scott.
Yep.
Isn't that great? Council
I think that
support.
absolutely, and that's what we were talking about last week, is that it's a tough gig being on the council, but they do a lot of great things, and a lot of people are very quick to criticise the council and people in those sorts of positions, but, hang out with some of them for a while, find out what their day looks like and their week looks like, and people like Natalia and PJ and Desley, and there's so many, Chris Trevor, and there's so many amazing people who put their hand up
And can I
first.
tell you?
And I still think you should do it, Mr. Guinea.
I'm on.
I still reckon you should run for council.
The graphic designer from the Gladstone Regional Council just walked past. So
Well,
all of the great graphic design that you see come out,
Yep.
she does that work. It's so cool. So
That is awesome.
Any of the clubs that are in town, and I'm not going to mention them, but there are so
So
many
many
clubs in here. So it's an opportunity to just get out and try it.
And go to full driving.
So, John, what do you say? That's a very noisy ear. What do you say to people who say there's nothing to do in Gladstone?
No way.
I agree.
I went to the interagency meeting a couple of months ago, and one of the questions was, what's good about Gladstone? And we went around the circle, and I was first on the edge of the circle, and I went first, and I went, I just love the amount of volunteers in Gladstone.
Yes.
The amount of people that volunteer in Gladstone, with so many different organisations supporting so many people here. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. We had our presentation here a few months ago, 6 months ago, honouring all the people that are volunteers, and the hall was chockers. It's absolutely chock-a-block. So these are all volunteers.
And you know what? There's places in Gladstone that have a lot of staff there, and a lot of people don't realise they're all volunteers. So I visited Mission to Seafarers, for example, and the people who drive their buses, the people that run the exchange, they've got the visitor centre where you can buy souvenirs and things like that.
A lot of them are volunteers.
Majority of people that are there are all volunteering. And you look at East Shores, when they go down, when the cruise ships come in, they welcome people off the ships. They're all volunteers. Down at Band, for the band markets at Tannum,
volunteers.
all volunteers. So,
St. Vincent de Paul.
Congratulations and hats off to all the volunteers who do so much work in our community.
Volunteers that work at Wing with Natalia.
Yes.
That are fantastic.
Yes.
Different groups that they run there.
Yes.
I want to give a big shout out to Greg Bray. He did the walk around the marina.
Oh, I know.
He did the marathon that he did. A little bit of a
42K.
He did it.
Walking.
And he raised money.
Really?
He donated it to the Seafarers Mission.
So did he keep walking round and round? How did you do 42
Leanne Patrick's
kilometres?
a volunteer too.
Yes,
volunteers
for
all the
volunteers.
Awesome.
Actually, Leanne does a lot of volunteering herself. So did he just walk around?
We went around the circle and said that there was so many good things about. There's East Shores, there's the Marina Parklands, there's the Marine.
He's in Shannon.
All the different locations like Tannum Beach, the barbecues, the picnic areas, and
Combat Tops,
well, that's the
that
thing. Everyone kept
Turkey
saying
Beach,
all the nice
the
things, and Turkey Beach, and 1770. And I went, wait a minute, what about the hinterland? We've got so much history in the hinterland. The Boyne Valley is steeped
Boyne
in
Valley
history.
is amazing. Yes. Lots of great
Gold
stuff
mines,
to see out
copper
there.
mines, the buildings that
There's
are
even
there.
great pubs out there to go just for a day trip and have lunch out there and support those people regionally as
I
well.
actually contacted Wayne from the Many Peaks Hotel, the Grand Hotel at Many Peaks. It used to be in Gladstone. They dismantled it and shipped it out there.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That's
They
unreal.
rebuilt the whole thing.
How do we not know some of this stuff?
Well, that's why I'm saying that the history out in the valley is spectacular.
Really?
3 weeks ago, we went and had a look at the bomber site at the Combat Tops.
Oh, that's
Combat
cool.
Tops,
I love
yeah.
that bomber side. Mountain bike all through there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what I did this week that I have to say,
Greg Bray,
I'm
loads
a
of
little bit
training.
disappointed in myself that I don't do this more often. I rang a friend and we decided to just catch up for lunch because with my busy schedule, I normally eat lunch at my desk. And she said, why don't we go up to the lookout at Tannum and just have lunch up there? So we bought lunch. We met up at the lookout at Tannum. And I walked across the grass to the picnic tables. And I said to her, do you know how long it is since I've been to the beach? And I said, we get so wrapped up in our everyday lives. And I said, I'm actually going to start coming down and walking on the beach because I think we take for granted what's close by.
Yep.
We take for granted that we've got all these things to do, and that gets people complacent in thinking there's nothing to do around town. And, a lot of the things we mentioned are pretty things and nice to look at. Have you ever been on an industry tour on Curtis Ferries?
No.
Curtis Island Ferries take you on an industry tour and they take you up the Narrows. You can see where all the LNG plants are. You can go around. I think it's important for people in this town when most of our jobs depend on industry to actually become familiar with that. And that's why obviously Daryl with his new tour bus, I noticed he's been doing tours around lately and there is so much to do in town.
There is. And it might be worthwhile just unpacking some of this. Leanne's saying enrich your life, volunteer, absolutely. And Carl Watt's saying if we could harness the energy spent complaining,
I totally agree, Carl. I totally agree. Yeah. And unfortunately with, Facebook sites and things like that, there's too much opportunity for keyboard warriors to sit behind a keyboard and actually say, the town's bad or it's this or it's that but I really think the majority of people who are out and about in the community, business people, volunteers, mums and dads, everyday people, I think they're out doing things, so they don't have time to sit at a
No, that's
keyboard and
right.
put on, a Facebook page that there's anything wrong with Gladstone.
And they don't see the shit. They only see the good stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Well, we don't, like you and I, or the three of us, we wouldn't really get into what's wrong with the place because we're too busy worrying about what's right with the joint.
Exactly.
Um,
And Natalia mentioned, how am I going here? Natalia mentioned she was down at the CWA. I just noticed up here. So this morning she was in Miriamvale with all the CWA volunteers down there. My mum's in the CWA at Claremont. They do a lot of great things for the community. Why is this not scrolling today?
Maybe use the mouse.
And last night in the blind, I've still got to get one of these little mice.
I'll do it.
Is it a mice? If I say I've got to get one of these mice, or do I say I've got to get one of these mouses? Got a little tiny, look, he's got baby mouse.
Portable mouse.
That's right, very cute.
So last night Natalia was in the Boyne Valley with all the wonderful progress associations. The day before with sporting organisations in Agnes.
Our region, Ross.
So there you go. See Natalia, one of our great counsellors, doing heaps for the community.
Nigel Clements, Dominic Kennedy, Nudgee College.
Donna said, pencil in a visit to your happy place each week. Make it a priority to grab a moment and refresh your soul with great company.
To your happy place. Well, there's a question. Where's your happy place, John?
That's one of my questions. That's one of my questions.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. No, I have a topic
for tonight, for the man walk.
Oh, so happiness is that, exactly that. What's your definition of happiness?
Right.
What's your definition of happiness?
You know what? I think the happiest I ever am is when I'm with my children.
Okay.
Like
So,
honest
relationships.
Well, I think it's a different, I have this feeling when I'm with my children and spending time with them that nothing else can compare with. But if I have those little moments, listening to music just lights my soul up.
Yep.
And I listen to music every opportunity I get and I listen to positive music. So
Yes.
I've been through some, dark times in my life where you tend to put on, music that depresses you. I find if I listen to positive, pumped up, music that makes you feel good, it changes your whole feeling inside of you, and that is definitely my happy place.
It releases the drug in your brain called dopamine. It's a natural high. You get a natural high from
There
that
you go.
drug.
So when I listen to music, I've got dopamine flowing everywhere, and
released
it
from your
makes
brain.
me feel.
You might be OD
Plus, I think it's good. You want to move around, and I'm cleaning the house, and I'm,
Boogieing.
boogieing. So,
And Nikki Taylor's saying she's only been here 11 months and she's finding a space and getting into volunteering with youth.
she is.
How
Nikki Taylor's
important-
actually a great friend of mine
How
who
important
moved up
is
from
youth
the Gold
volunteering?
Coast.
Yeah.
She's fallen in love. Let me tell you, Nikki's made me fall back in love with Boyne Tanham because Nikki rang me before she moved up from the Gold Coast. I've known Nikki for years, and she said her son and daughter-in-law and their beautiful little grandbabies live up here. And she said, we've got an opportunity to move up there. And Nikki and her husband, Richard, have always had a real laptop lifestyle. So what they've been doing in the Gold Coast, it's something that could be transitional.
Transportable.
I said to her, what's the worst thing that could happen? Come up here for 12 months and see how it goes. And she's posting all these beautiful photos of the Boyne beach and sitting, on her balcony in Boyne Island and enjoy. And she describes it in a way that it's new eyes. New eyes are seeing those things that we take for granted. And it's amazing what that actually makes you do. And she's really getting involved in the community. She's doing great work with the youth from the PCYC and helping them to get work and recruiting, that sort of thing.
It's so positive, eh?
And Boyne Tanham's grateful for you, Nikki, I must say.
Refresh your soul with great company. Oh, yes.
True.
So you refresh your soul with great company from kids. So what's your happy place, mate? Or how would you define happiness? What's happiness?
It's a destination. I see it as a destination.
Holy shit. That's deep.
I see it as every day is the journey to my destination of happiness.
Right. Does that mean you're not happy today, though?
Oh, no, I'm happy every day.
Oh, great.
So you're going from...
Far too many people think of one day I'm going to be happy. Because I ask that question when I'm coaching.
Deep.
I know.
When I'm coaching, I say, what do you want? I say, I want to be happy. Are you happy now? And they say, no.
What?
So what's stopping you from being happy?
Isn't happiness a choice?
Absolutely. But it's a decision.
Isn't it an emotion?
And
who's in charge of our emotion?
We are. No one else. But we have this elusive thing called happiness. It's a butterfly that will never be found if you keep chasing it because the wind keeps taking it away.
Oh, now that's deep.
So
It is deep, and it goes back to what we spoke about
need
a
a
couple of
butterfly
weeks
catcher.
ago when we were talking about, the twin story, which we brought up several
I love
times.
the
You know,
twin
about actually in one of my relationship coaching groups this week, somebody actually asked the question, is a mother responsible for their son turning out to be an asshole of a husband? Was the question. And everyone was jumping on the bandwagon of, you are responsible for who you become. And I said, just because your father or mother was an abuser, a rapist, a murderer, doesn't mean that you have to choose to become that person. You choose to become what you want to become. And you're not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. And, it was a really interesting sort of way of seeing different people's opinions of that, because there were people who are in an angry place in their life who actually said, yes, if, my ex-husband's mum, she was a bitch and she turned him out to be, and I'm like, no, just because the parents that raised you, and we have had that conversation about the two twins one in prison,
absolutely.
one became a doctor. They both had the same father.
And just a quick shout out to Carl. Good on you, man. There are 50 good things to do in here, from walking on Tanham Beach at lunch to the Many Peaks pub. Should be a challenge to tick them off.
Absolutely, Carl. And while you're out in Moranbah, tell us what's good to do in Moranbah.
Oh, there's a thought.
Yes. Can I just give a shout out to Amelia? She's just our wonderful Amelia. She is our wonderful surgeon here in Gladstone.
Is she the breast surgeon?
She is, yes. And we're actually getting ready to do the official launch of her charity Restore More, with the February next year is the official launch date here at the Entertainment Centre.
So cool.
We were planning to have it at the end of this year, but we had a little bit less time to prepare than we'd like to. So it's now in.
She's making a big difference from what I hear.
She is. She's making a huge difference.
Changes lives, and how it changes lives is really good. Like you too.
Brilliant surgeon too.
So tell me more about this happiness thing, bro. I'm interested.
Well, as the question is, are you still searching for it, or have you found it?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
And
there are so many people that just keep searching for it. They can't find it. It's elusive.
I agree.
Because they're happy for the moment, but then the fix is finished.
Right.
That's it. I've had my fix.
Can't wait either, Donna.
Then I want to go and look for my next fix of happiness.
So, John, then let's break this down. If you've got a lot of stuff going on in your life right now that is very challenging, and we talked before about, people being diagnosed with cancer, people losing a loved one, people going through challenges. Hey, Butchie's here. People going through lots of work challenges, accidents, whatever. If you're happy right this instant, because I'm sitting here talking to friends, but you've got all of that going on in your life, do you think people actually just come across with the illusion that they're happy? And you would see this a lot, where people can come across that, and I might leave here today and you say, oh, Ross seems really happy, but I go away and fall apart because I have all those challenges going on in my life.
And you know what we call that?
So what do we call that?
You're wearing a mask. You mask up. You cover that unhappiness.
So you're a bit of a chameleon, so you can become happy for the moment.
And it's a coping mechanism that people use.
And where can that lead to, John? Where can putting that mask on constantly to avoid the reality?
What it does is it just
where have you
masks.
seen people? Yeah. So what does that lead
regularly?
So it leads to depression.
What's
the outcome?
I want to step back a bit, because you just said there's a choice. You were talking about
Yes,
choice.
yeah.
Here is the
That's
choice.
why I want
You
to
said you're
open this up a
here
bit.
talking with us, and
Yeah.
you feel happy, despite the fact that you've got things that are in the background going on that are not making you happy.
And I don't mean me personally, it's hypothetical.
But
Yes.
it's figuratively speaking.
Yes.
So what happens is you've got a choice. You can be a sad sack and play the part of the victim.
Yes.
And I got asked the question the other day, what's the person's behaviour? What is it? I don't understand it. And I said, well, it's simply the victim. Because all they ever talk about is they never have enough money. Every single thing, every conversation that came up was about the lack of money. And yet they had so much. They have so much more than most other people do. So here they are portraying this piece of themselves that serves them, because if they're a victim, people will pat them on the back.
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Correct.
It's such a sad story.
victim
Which
mentality.
is the worst thing you can do when you're in a public speaking sort of event, and you have people with trauma and sadness. The worst thing you can do is touch them, because you actually lock that in. Next time someone touches them, it's like a trigger and anchor. They go back to that
Someone's having a party here on Friday afternoon at 4:30ish,
and they're
having a ball. It's
Good
great
on
to
them.
see.
And so
Talk
they
about
should.
happy.
So they should. My son 7 says each night, today was the best day ever. Love that. Happiness is circumstantial, based on happenstance.
The joy can exist even during struggle. Challenges are part of the human experience, and through practice, you will be with the experience even in discomfort and still have joy.
pretty deep,
Amelia does mindfulness workshops, so
She's all over this.
She deals with this a lot, and I'd encourage anyone to
Go and see
to
her
go
and be
to
part
the
of it.
workshops that Amelia runs.
Yeah.
And this is all a part of Restore More, which is Amelia's charity that we are launching in February. It has a whole lot to do with how you that your reality matches what you're portraying to people.
Yeah.
You can't just pretend to be happy and not have that catch up with you eventually.
Like Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Good example.
I love to unpack what happenstance means. Does that mean that happiness is circumstantial based on happenstance? I'm sort of interested in that comment because. So does that mean that we're sort of we're happy based on what's going on in our life, or we're based on we're happy regardless of what's going on?
But that's the choice.
That's correct. So therefore,
it comes down to the choice again.
So it's a choice, right?
That makes sense. So when something happens, I think this is the way I'm seeing it. If something happens, it's your stance on how to deal with what's happened rather than...
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you can be upset immediately if something bad happens to you, I guess.
Yeah.
But then you have to actually look at, the choice of how do I actually allow this to affect me.
And that's it with this communication. You have a choice. You either react or you respond. So if someone upsets you and says something to offend you, you can react and roar at them and have a go at them. But that doesn't serve the purpose. So you respond. You practice the pause, gather your thoughts, think about what you want to say, and respond as opposed to react.
And in between reaction and response is reflection, right?
Absolutely.
So
and that's the pause. That's that period of time where you have that pause, where you actually do the reflection.
Let the silence do the heavy lifting, as Susan Scott says in the book Fierce Conversations. Let silence do the heavy lifting. So the thing about that is that people have happiness is dependent on when something is going wrong. Joy's there all of the time, even during struggle. Okay, yeah, cool. Dependent on when something is going well, yeah. Thoughts, yeah, very good. Because things can get out of control, and so I get that. So trauma can show up and make us unhappy.
There's a lot of instances where it happens. Think of someone that has an addiction that goes to a club and sits there at the poker machines, and they have a win.
And they're happy in the moment.
They're happy in the moment.
Yeah.
They lose the money, and then
they're not so happy.
Which
is a sad experience for people.
And then they wake up after a bad hangover. What happens? I've got no money. How do I pay rent? How do I put the groceries on the table?
So that's interesting. Just to delve a bit deeper into that, we've talked before about, I guess, not just substance abuse, gambling, that sort of thing, but do you find that people who haven't got the capacity or the knowledge to know how to, that they're responsible for their own happiness, do they go searching for that in things that might not be good for them? The false happiness, the euphoria of those highs and lows. And it could be anything, sex addiction, gambling,
Absolutely.
Alcohol, drugs, whatever that might be, because it helps them to have those moments of hope, of feeling happy and high, high on life, or high, I suppose.
And that's why we have such a problem with addiction, particularly drug addiction, or whether it's drugs or alcohol. We have that real serious problem. So there's a great documentary or a guest speaker on the TED Talks. A young fella, I'll look up his name in a moment, that talks about the study that was done in Portugal, where the ministers got together and said, we need to do something about this problem with Portugal. So they talked about this study that was done where they had rats that were in a cage and they had two bottles. One bottle was just clean water, and one bottle contained the drugs. So the rats thought, there's nothing to do, so I'm going to drink the drugged water and go, yippee. And they were dying because they had overdoses of these drugs.
Wow.
They had all the
Wow.
side effects of the drugs. So scientists said, you know what, that's because they've got nothing to do. We need to give them something to do. So they created what he called a happy park, a rat park. So they had activities and they had wheels and they had balls to
something
play
to do.
with.
So they were busy.
They were busy. They had things to do. They had
Right.
other rats in the cage, so they had friends to play with. They had there was a
Wow,
female
that's
and
really
the male, so they
interesting.
could do sex if they wanted to. So they had things to do to
Interesting.
occupy themselves. And then the ones that they still had the choice of having the water or the water that was drugged. It was only something like about 10% actually experimented or kept it taking the drugs, but they went back.
was
They
one of my
chose.
questions.
They didn't need the drugs. They didn't
So-
need the drug water. They didn't like it. They preferred the fresh water and all the activities. So addiction is because there's a void there. When you have a void and you've got nothing, you've got to fill it.
The
So
universe
you fill
fills
it
a void.
with the
With-
void of the drugs because it gives you the high. Gives you that
That's
high
really
happiness.
interesting. So the drugs were still there; they had the choice of them, but when they were given that distraction of something that actually made them feel happy
Thank you.
without taking anything, they actually swayed towards that
Yep.
option. So
And just to pick up on another study that's done, so the longest running study in the world is like a 70-year study of Harvard graduates. And the pretense of the study is, how do we live a long and happy life? And who lives longest and happiest? And what are the contributing factors to longevity and happiness? So there's this real piece of, we want to grow old happy. The biggest thing they found for people that do live the longest and the happiest is relationships. It's about your social network. Hello, Omar. How you going, bro? It's the quality of your personal relationships and your professional relationships and your intimate relationship is going to determine how long you live and how happy you live. Isn't that interesting? And the rat's
that
probably
is
the same
interesting
thing.
because I've actually heard people say that you can die from loneliness
Oh, for sure.
And- when you actually know, what it's like to be lonely
Yeah.
and not have people in your life. If you have ever been in that position,
Yeah.
and a lot of that I think has to do with your mental, state. As far as I spoke to someone recently, and that they know that I'm really active. I'm out.
That's
I'm
it.
busy with work. I'm networking all the
Yeah.
time. I'm doing
Yeah.
my fundraising. I go out
that's right.
socially and all of those things. And she said to me, I said, why don't you go out more? Why don't you go and do things? Why don't you put yourself out there, volunteering, for example,
What'd she say?
And she said, I said, why don't you do things? She said, because no one ever asks me.
Okay.
And I'm very shy. And I said, but no one asks me.
Ah.
Nobody asks me. I go out on my own. I'll go to events on my own. I know there'll be someone there that I know. I said, and I understand that you're shy, but I said, I wasn't always like this.
No, that's right.
I said, what
It's a
got
learned
me
skill.
out of that comfort zone was putting myself in,
Yeah.
and I literally had situations, I had relationship breakdown. I had to start getting out socially and doing things.
And you
I would
got that
literally
advice
come up here
to
for
go.
dinner on my own, or I would take myself out for coffee on my own.
Go
And I
meet
met more
people.
people, and you build your social circle, and you get involved in, amazing fundraising like Restore More, and you start to get to know people, and you make connections.
It's human connection.
And I have built that
Quick
from
shout out
me,
to Ash. How are you, bro?
putting myself out there. And we've had Paul and
because
a
we
few other
are-
people
Paul,
joined
we're there.
earlier. So,
Because we are social animals.
Can I
and
just?
like the rats.
Can
And I
just-
have that.
yeah.
I have that feeling of genuine happiness
Yeah.
by doing those things. And I do know certain people who certain people who do take recreational drugs, and I often think, I have never, swear to God, never in my
Me either.
life
Put a drug
actually
in your
ever
body.
looked for it, gone for it, never been attracted to doing that. And I wonder what is it when you make the choice, and people say, that it makes you feel good. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I've seen you when
you're on drugs
when you're at
and you
work
don't
or
look
you're
like
not.
all you-
And I'm thinking, is it just, again, chasing that natural high or that unnatural
Unnatural
high? Because you know that it's going to make you feel
Yeah.
good once you do that. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean?
Can I just unpack just for a sec all of that, what you just said then in 2 words? That you talked about lonely, and then you talked about being around other people. Believe it or not, you can actually, there's a difference between lonely and alone.
Yes,
Like,
definitely.
you can still be around other people and still actually feel
Yeah,
lonely.
exactly.
Feel like you haven't actually connected
Yes.
with other human beings. And so, hello, Alana, how are
Hey,
you?
Alana. Alana's on What island are you on, Alana? I just saw this morning. Lady Musgrave.
Oh, really?
She's down at Lady Musgrave. Isn't it down near
Brizzy?
Maryborough?
Harvey Bay.
Yes.
There you go. So,
Is it raining down there, Alana?
Is it off Harvey Bay? No, it's off 17.
Thumbs up.
Oh, and Ash glasses on too.
Oh, me mate Ash. He had a tough year, the big fella.
Is it raining in Lady Musgrave?
Stay strong, Ash. Stay strong, bro.
We had good rain today.
I'm going to head off.
Yeah, go, bro.
Yeah, you're off to the
I'm
man
finish off
walk.
with this question.
Yes.
We're all here for a reason.
Oh, shit.
Stop being a prisoner of your past
Oh.
and become the architect of your future.
Oh, that's good.
Like that?
That's good.
Yes, I do
really
like that.
That's what we're going to use at the man walk this afternoon.
Because that's
I'm going to say goodbye and run to them.
Yeah, see you, bro.
And
Because
I'll
that's
leave
you'll be
you
back
two.
in a sec.
I'm just, yeah.
I'll,
going in
I'll entertain the troops for a
Thanks,
while.
Ros.
So that sort of comes back to the meaning that we put on things. I never feel lonely when I'm in John's inside circle.
Thanks,
Ellis, if you want to do something or be part of it, jump in, feel the fear, and do it anyway. Find the people that get you engaged. Because I had a
Face your fears.
face your fears. Because I had a someone's given us plenty of loving. Who is that giving us all that loving, baby, loving? I used to have a manager, senior guy, Omar, a senior guy who used to say, like Ros did, no one's invited me. He would say, that sounds like an excuse. I'd say, you're right, Pat, that is an excuse.
It is.
I love it.
So we have to unpack that and find out what's holding us back.
Oh, I know. And why? Not so much what. Why?
And don't ask a why question.
What? How come?
If you ask a why question, you have to justify it. You make me wrong. You ask me why. If you say what's the reason, then I'll explain the reason. What is the reason I do it as opposed to why? When you ask me a why question, I feel like I've got to defend myself because you're making me wrong.
Oh, that's great.
So in coaching, we never say a why question. Never ask a why question.
Oh,
There you go. Man walk, man
that's a
talk.
great question.
Man talk.
Man,
Do I give you a minute?
Oh, good. Yeah, we've had a chat. I just learned something.
Good one.
Don't
Have a
ask
man.
why questions in coaching. I like it. Cool.
Thank
Makes
you
sense.
for joining us again, John, and please thank John. We will definitely get you on again, and that was
Very enlightening.
again very very worthwhile. It always
Thank you
is.
for
We
the
love
opportunity. Have a great weekend, everyone.
No worries.
Be
Enjoy
careful
the.
on
Gee, I'm-
wet roads.
Yeah, that's right. Be
Squeeze
careful.
Oh,
leg out.
sorry, these horrible
Zach's-
noisy
Zach's
jets. I'll just
driving.
call that one. Can you lift
Isn't
that
it
one?
great that we've got this rain?
Yes.
The farmers
Except
are-
my washing will be wet, but I don't care. We need the rain.
Go the farm.
It'll dry.
We need
Big
the rain.
goal.
We were out at
Why, John?
in the Boyne Valley just a couple of weeks ago, and it's terribly dry. I've never seen it. All
Yeah?
years, never seen it as bad as that. There's no grass, just dirt. It's like that. Just dirt.
Sorry, I'm trying
Have
to
a
move.
great weekend.
See you,
Take
bro.
care. Thank you, John.
Thanks,
I'm going to
John.
move in. There we're green and green.
Green and green.
Green
all
and
those
green
green
instead of-
skis.
Oh, there you go.
And you've got to be somewhere soon. So
Yeah, I'm heading off to see Amelia about Restore More, so we're getting that.
Oh, you're going to see Amelia, who's
Yeah,
been on tonight?
Yeah,
Really? Go you.
clean my glasses. 'cause
God
I
bless
can't
you
see.
guys, and God
Oh,
bless
thank
you
you,
too,
Omar.
Omar.
Oops.
Yeah, isn't that happiness such a big topic? And we were going to unpack.
He's so clever.
He is a
He's
smart
such a
lad,
smart
isn't he?
man.
Isn't
He is honestly,
He's
if
done
you
this stuff
have,
for a while, hasn't he?
if you know anyone who actually really just needs someone to talk to, it's not like going to a psychologist or psychiatrist. He's just a
Life
really
coach is
great
a good
listener.
guy.
He is a affinity life coaching.
Team
And
pistachio.
oh my god,
What's a pistachio? Is that
the
because it's
nuts?
green?
Yeah, green pistachio nuts.
Are they green?
Inside they are.
No.
Yeah, you open the shell and they're
Are they
green.
green?
Yes, they're green. Thanks,
Okay.
Omar. You just
Thank-
taught him something
Thanks for the
today.
gift of feedback.
I'm going to. Have you not had a pistachio before?
Not that I know.
Well, you've got to have one
Why do my
because
teeth not look white there today, Ross? They look
Affinity-
white. I have a thing with my teeth.
I know you've got a real thing. Oh, there it is.
Affinity Life Coaching. Corinne Wright. Hello, girl.
Affinity Life Coaching. There you go. So we just tagged John's
John.
business,
Yeah.
and honestly,
Get along.
the groups that he runs,
I've been
fantastic.
inside.
Insight. I've been to Insight now, and it's fantastic. And Natalia was just giving them a plug there before as
Yeah.
well. So, so what do you got on for the weekend before we wrap up?
Oh, working like a banshee.
Yeah.
Marketing, the next workshop, next retreat. And
Oh.
I've just seen some messages come in, get your fat ass on the job because I need some stuff from you is what our market is basically saying. And not so many words.
You haven't got a fat ass. You've been doing all those running posts.
Oh, I know, they're old ones.
Yeah.
They're old
How'd you
ones.
go in Agnes last week? Because the Agnes try
Love
was
that
on.
event. Go try. Oh, Roz.
What? What happened in Agnes?
No, don't worry about Agnes.
Oh, what's happening?
This
Oh,
weekend.
God, what's happening?
No, you asked me what's happening this weekend.
What's happening this weekend?
The most important Barna weekend.
Oh, here we go. There's a triathlon coming up. I can feel it in my bones.
You can feel it. Can you feel it in your water? We've got this.
Yeah, come on. Spill it.
There's this little town, city,
Oh,
island
it's not Black Butt. Oh, okay.
in Hawaii
Ooh.
called Kona.
Ooh.
And there is a little triathlon there this weekend.
Yes.
Just a little
You're
event.
not going to Hawaii for the weekend?
No!
Oh,
Wish I was. 1 year I will.
okay.
Kona's on this weekend.
Okay.
Oh, and don't thank me now.
So why are you telling us? Do you want us to watch it, or is there...
And if you don't sit in front of your computer for like 17 hours straight on Sunday watching this
You know
thing,
what else
starting
is-
about 3 in the morning.
Isn't Bathurst on this weekend? Or
What's
is that on now?
What's that?
The car.
Oh, is that something? Oh, right.
Bathurst.
Yeah, Bathurst is like
More
same
people will
weekend.
be watching that than a triathlon. Just saying. Just saying.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know if there's much on this weekend. Hopefully we'll get more rain and everything will get washed out. Because quite honestly, I'll tell you what is on this weekend is a bucket load of open homes. Get it out there,
Oh,
people.
yes.
I'm working Saturday and Sunday.
Holy
A
shit.
huge amount of new listings, which are just
Wow. Going
beautiful.
nuts.
So,
Yeah,
and
good.
a few contracts this week. So things are selling. There's lots of buyers out there.
Heaps of stuff selling.
Yeah.
Prices aren't going up yet.
No,
Heaps
but
of
there's
stuff
a lot of stock. It's a good time to buy. That's why
It is.
people are out
It
and
is
about.
great,
So
absolutely.
definitely worthwhile
and
getting
we're-
out and having a look at
and
some open homes.
We're coaching again at 4 p.m.
Did it bug?
I just wanted to tell you about Kona, because if you haven't ever seen this event, tune in for the last 15 minutes of this race and watch 81-year-olds cross the finish
Wow.
line after 17 hours
Wow,
of
that's
doing
ridiculous.
an Ironman triathlon.
That is
Now,
ridiculous.
If you think
It is
Bathurst,
Bathurst.
baby,
Definitely.
if you think you can't do something, go and
Yes.
watch an 80-year-old do an Ironman and crawl over the finish line. You go, holy shit,
I think I'll leave that to you.
it's a big thing.
I wouldn't be running. So there's no
Spot
way.
on a GSC,
I take my
nice
hat
one.
off to these people.
I
Like,
know.
just
Oh,
crazy.
no, it's just like I'm so inspired by people that can do this stuff.
You should be, and you should be inspired by yourself.
Oh, thank you, Nick
Because I'm
Partridge.
just having a quick look at the events this weekend.
What is on?
Up on my calendar. So I've got a birthday party.
Whose is it?
Oh, when's that?
Family Fun Day.
Hang on.
Calliope
Oh,
Radio.
you know what I saw this week? That reminds. Sorry to
Talk
hit
me
you.
through it. Talk me
Did
through
you see near the Breslin Street intersection? There's a big billboard advertising Nudgee College.
Yes!
Did you see that?
Yes!
I mean, oh
I'm
my
gonna
God,
take
they've
a
been
photo. I'm
hearing
gonna
your
take a photo.
lives. Everyone's
Oh, I
like,
know.
Anton does lives up
We're
there.
going to take a photo of the Nudgee College board.
So
Check
that's
your
next
emails,
weekend.
Ross. Photos are up. What photos?
Oh,
Photos of what?
yeah. Nick took some headshots for us.
Did he?
Yeah, he came out to our office.
No
Thank
way.
you, Nick. Thank you.
Check
Can't
your
wait to
emails.
see them.
And he does good photos. All
He
my
does, you know he's
marketing
leaving
photos.
town. Oh, is that a secret? He's
I
leaving
don't know.
town. He's just been up at
I'm doing my
Daintree.
photographs.
Nick's
So-
been up at the Daintree. His photography is
Oh, there
unbelievable.
you go. Natalia Muscat,
Thanks, Nick.
Humans of Gladstone.
Oh, yes.
Natalia.
Actually, like their Facebook page, Humans of
me
Gladstone.
through that.
Have you seen the Facebook
No.
page? You've got to get on there. Get on it. Get on it.
Thanks,
Get on it. Get on
Natalia.
it.
Go, Nick.
Oh, Crow Street's on tonight. I've just noticed 6 o'clock tonight. Crow Street Creative. If you haven't been to Crow Street before, get yourself down there. It's awesome.
Look at all these love
Awesome.
hearts and hands and stuff.
It's
going on.
awesome.
Good on you,
And
sir.
tomorrow, what's that? Tomorrow, the precinct. Oh, they've got Fresh Prince of Bel-Air trivia.
Oh, true.
Yes,
Where's the precinct?
the precinct's the Queen's, so it's been renamed the precinct.
Why is the
The
Prince
Queen's
of Bel-Air?
Hotel. It's a trivia night. They have different movies and stuff you can do.
Have a wonderful weekend, guys. See you, Leanne. Thanks, love. Thanks for joining in,
You
girl.
too, Leanne. Thank you for
Be good.
coming.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming. All right, find events tomorrow. Do you love Facebook for events?
Love Facebook.
Tomorrow is the fresh produce markets right here.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here. That's
Tomorrow,
my
7 a.m.
Yep.
Fresh
I'm gonna
produce.
come
Come and
buy
get your
some
fruit and veggie. You
Yeah.
should come in.
I do. I love it.
Beautiful. What else? The Gladstone Basketball Stadium are
Gabba.
having a working bee.
Gabba having a working beat.
Yes.
You know Gabba? I used to be on their committee
Yes.
talking about volunteering.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's a senior
Fun fashion
presentation.
parades. 100 years.
100 years of who's that?
QI.
100
What's
years
QI?
of Quota.
Oh, Quota International.
Quota International are
My
having
mum
a
was in
fashion
Quota. Hello,
parade.
Ian Webster, all
So
the way
that's
from
from
Mag.
2 o'clock tomorrow. 2 o'clock tomorrow. Look at all this. We should do this every week.
We should.
Oh, is that tomorrow, the 12th to the 18th?
Capricorn
Booby
bunker.
Bird Charters. That's Booby Bird. They're having Capricorn punch.
Booby Bird.
Yeah, have you not heard of the Booby Bird? It's a charter boat here. They go out to Swains Reef and all sorts of places. So
sounds interesting.
Oh, and
Nothing
look at
better
that.
than 100% natural food, says Homer.
And Physiopole Studios are having a fundraiser night at the cinemas. Yeah, that you can learn to do pole dancing, like for fitness. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing.
One of the
Hustler,
ladies.
that's the new movie out at the cinemas this week with Jennifer Lopez. It's going to be. Yes, I have heard it is.
Good movie.
You've got to go take Jules to Hustler.
Yeah, I will. I might go tonight even.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. I love movies.
There is nothing better than 100% natural food, Homer. He would know. He's been on every diet on the planet.
I'm on another one at the
Although
moment.
if you talk to Denise Ambrose, you can get 9 vegetables and
in
15 heaps of fruit or something in her tablets.
1,000 things in each tablet.
Yes,
which is good.
Definitely.
Cool.
I'm actually just working.
we go.
I'm working all weekend, so
what
I have
time
got a
we
birthday
coaching?
party
4
tomorrow
o'clock
night.
tomorrow,
But yeah, we're
here
coming
at
up
4.
there. I still haven't done my homework.
You're doing your homework tonight. Work
Hey,
hard.
I'm on it.
Good work.
I do my best work. You know when someone comes over and you get more housework done in that half hour before anyone comes to your house? I'm the same with my training.
We've only got 2 weeks. We need to get you through this.
Yeah, I know, but I've achieved a lot more than I should have by this stage, so I should get a week off.
We've done a year's worth of coaching in like a month.
Yeah, I know. So I've done a year's worth of homework in a month.
I know. And is it good though?
Oh, yeah.
Like, did you think you'd get that much done?
Yeah, but I know a good student.
Oh,
I'm a really impressive
I
student.
know
I get all my homework done. I've got a lot of help though, Lisa.
Yeah, have you got a PA? PA's help a lot.
Yeah, she's great.
Did you think you'd get this far?
No.
One day at a time.
No.
33 types of fruit and veggies all in one
Thank you, Donna. Thank
33.
you.
Wow.
33.
So have you surprised yourself though with a bit of...
name 33 vegetables and fruits? Yeah, me neither.
Although
pistachios counted?
No, they're not. And they're not green inside.
They're
Surely
they
they're
are
not
green inside. Listen to Omar. They are.
They're green in the pills.
They are.
Maybe. Are they green in the thing? Anyway.
Pistachios are green in the middle.
All right.
The nut part that you eat is green.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So, are you proud of yourself? Though?
Very proud of myself.
Because you are.
I've achieved a whole lot. Kicking goals all over the place.
Because you want to inspire. Talk me. So very, very quickly.
Yes.
Talk me through it. You want to inspire people. You want to change
I think I already with what I've shared my story, and I just have so many complete strangers, people on all my support groups and everything else who have,
yes, Google it.
They have learned a lot, and because I've shared my journey so publicly, and I am very open and honest to talking to everybody about everything
and
that I have been through on my journey. Everyone says how inspiring and brave I am, and I want to make sure I keep sharing my story and helping others.
Yeah.
And if I can do it in a way where I actually am professionally trained
and to do it
to speak
from the heart
and do a professional presentation, I will feel a lot better to their heart.
We don't
and
want
to offer them what they need out of it, not with me just telling my story. See what I've learned?
Go you! Look at you, little coachee.
Yes.
Go you!
Thank you.
And it is inspiring. I find your story inspiring, and I know other people will, and I just can't wait to help you craft that into something that really makes a difference to the world. That's what we're all about.
The biggest thing, and this is part of what you've taught me, a culmination of my thoughts and feelings, as well as what coaching you've been giving me, and I need to make sure people need to understand, I guess, in life and with
listening to you guys.
Thank you, Omar. That is really nice. Oh, thank you, Amelia.
You're already a professional. You are a professional.
You're just helping me polish it up a bit.
Please don't think that I'm saying Ros is not a great speaker already. Look,
no.
After a year,
it's the technical side of things that I'm polishing, and that's why I've sought a professional coach, which I have for a lot of things. I've got a personal trainer.
You got a relationship.
I've got a relationship coach. I have got Anton as my my public speaking coach. I think that it's important to do that. John is helping as well as far as the life coaching, and I think that it's important for people to go to somebody. And even people like Amelia, if you need help, she can help you with mindfulness, and that's what it's all about. The biggest lesson I've learned through my journey, and the biggest lesson that I've learned through your coaching, is that it's not. Oh, we're frozen. Oh, hello, we're back. It's not about ego. you have to get past the point. It's very difficult when you have been a big person your whole life. You've battled obesity. I've been through lots of challenges with relationships and all sorts of things. And there is a part initially where, you know, you can actually feel uncomfortable and guilty when people say you look good or you're inspiring or brave. It's very hard to listen to that. But when you actually genuinely know that you are helping people, it's not about ego. You know, sharing my story is not for me to get accolades. It's not for me to, I could have just not told. A lot of people choose to, and I'm not judging anyone that doesn't share their journey. But for me, being such a public figure, I need, you know, I've been able to, with the help of people like Anton, you know, and John, I've been able to actually understand that I have got the ability to have a gift to share with other people because I'm not afraid to talk about it. I am very well known. You know,
You've got an audience.
I have got so many people, and I didn't even realise how many people would come to me for advice and help and guidance.
Right.
And I'm not a professional. It's just me sharing my story and my experiences.
You're not a professional yet.
Yet.
But you're very professional.
Thank you.
So let's make sure we get our languaging right, because remember when we're speaking, people hang off every word, and every word's got to earn its place in the sentence.
And I think other people have been inspired to share their story because I have.
We got Donna
Miss
interacting
Donna.
with us here, and here she is here. That's bizarre. Come in.
So that's why I've sought the help of Mr. Anton Guinea and his wonderful coaching. Come and say hi, Donna.
Absolutely. And the other thing is,
our friend Donna, who's actually on here with us. Hello.
Hello, people.
What's on tonight at the entertainment?
We got heaps on this weekend. Hey, we've got Spot in at the moment. I'm on the clothes for that. Just pack up.
Hey, how did Lady Beetle do?
How did Lady Beetle go?
That was massive.
That came on a couple of weeks ago.
I did the bump in for that.
The
It
bump
was
in?
massive.
What's a bump in?
So a bump in is where you bring everything off the truck and build a whole stage. So
Is that what you're doing there?
That's what I
Oh,
do.
you're epic.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Can you? I've got that book for you. Can you take that
I
before
can
you
give
go
that
for
to you.
that? Is
Yeah,
that all right?
awesome.
Now,
Lovely.
very quickly. So here's the thing.
Omar just said the
We're-
day we stop learning is the day we die.
Because we're talking about
so
coaching.
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So here's my take on life. Right? I believe someone like you, Ross, and someone like you, Donna, who've had challenges in their life, which we all have. See, there's three objections that I get when people don't want to come and learn about public speaking. One, they think they don't have a story. Can you believe that? People think they don't have a story. People think I've got nothing to say. What a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a story.
Everyone does have a story.
Two, I won't get over my fears of public speaking. A load
Yeah.
of crap. You'll get over your fears.
Yeah,
And
a
the
lot of
third one
people
is I
worry
just
about
don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to actually just kick this whole thing off, right?
Yeah.
Now, I believe, and I don't know if this helps people or not, I actually look them dead in the eye and say, you've had some dramas, you and I, and you and you and you, everyone here have an absolute obligation to tell your story.
Yeah.
Absolute obligation, because we've got all this life experience that others can learn from, and we've got a story.
Yes.
And people don't feel that they're able to share it.
I think it's part of your legacy when, you know, everyone had, like, one of my favourite things to do is to talk to elderly people. And when I was a nurse, that was actually one of my most favourite things. I would sit and listen to them. And, you know, when you have someone who you're sitting there talking to who's 95 years old and they've been in the war and they went through the, you know, Great Depression, like there's the things that you can actually, if you sit and listen to an elderly person about their whole life and you actually engage with them, and it is unbelievable what you can actually learn.
And they're desperate to tell you.
Yeah.
And you don't judge people. This is my biggest thing, and I'm so against judgment because of all the judgment I've been through. And everyone judges. But when you see somebody, and you know, it's some old guy just sitting on a coffee, you know, at a coffee shop on his own, and you know, the stories these people have to share, you think of what you have been through in 95 years, you know, and it's just taking the time to actually listen. And those young girls, you know, when the you know, the young girls that came and joined us on the live, the Eli girls, you know, at that young age, and they're talking to us about, you know, anti-bullying at their school.
And they were leaders, man.
Yeah,
We're going to hire them
absolutely.
one day.
Yeah, and I think everyone's got a story to share, and if everyone takes the time to listen, but you can't listen to a story unless someone's prepared to share it.
And sometimes the most simplest story resonates with the most people.
Yes.
And you don't know
totally
how many
agree.
people are out there waiting for them to hear that story and go, oh my God, that's me too.
Absolutely.
Feeling your
And the
pain.
day you came on live and talked about the challenges in a relationship when, you know, your partner does fly in, fly out. You know, there's so many people that would have been able to connect to
with
that
that.
story.
Last day today, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Last day.
Of his
Last
soul.
day out of Mackay.
Has he
Last
got
day.
a job here now?
He hasn't sold the house, but he's got a job in
That's
Gladstone.
exciting.
Where at?
Yay,
Oh,
Lawrence
on
is
the
coming home.
Great.
No more $50 notes in the washing
No,
machine.
oh, hey, come on.
Oh, you can still do
P.S.
that.
if you're watching.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Hey, keep it up. Even if you're in town, Lawrence, you got to keep that up.
Keep the biddies
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Yes, definitely.
It's when people act on judgments that cause harm, and it really
Oh,
is.
hello. Welcome, Crystal.
Yeah,
You have to
Crystal's
rewatch
on
because we've been talking about a lot of great stuff with John
Lovely.
Sorotti today,
See,
and lovely Donna's just joined.
If anyone's out there, so we're going to unpack Collateral Beauty next week. Rossie's going to
Yeah,
watch
we
the
are.
movie this
Just
week, and Donna's
ignore
gonna
that
watch
part
it
of
as
our
well,
heading
Yeah.
because
because it's such a great movie, and we're going to talk about what happiness means from a trauma perspective and how you actually rebuild yourself after trauma, because we've talked about that a lot tonight. Now, the other book we're going to unpack after that is The Alchemist.
we're getting deep now.
Repeat after me. The Alchemist.
Who did we challenge last week? Someone was watching and you said you're going to be...
Collateral
Oh,
Beauty.
Sharon Bell. You told her she's got to watch that. So you'll have to make sure that you tell her we're doing it next week.
Hubby stepped up for me.
And you've got to watch it too because I have to watch it.
Collateral Beauty. Can you
I
do
can do
me a
that.
favour?
Yeah.
Can you come up next week and help us unpack it?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, actually, I'm not here next week, so that's going to be interesting. I'm away at a public personal development workshop.
I'm just
So that's
checking.
okay. The week after, no, I'm away that weekend as well. And the week after, no, I'm away that weekend. So we're going to have to do this next Thursday.
I was going to say
Are you
after
free next
Christmas.
Thursday? Are you free next
Thursday I
Thursday?
can do.
Oh,
Thursday
I have
next
to
week?
check
Just
my,
for something.
I have to check my calendar.
So we're going to unpack Collateral Beauty. And the reason I want to unpack The Alchemist is because there's a quote at the end of The
He
Alchemist.
did, Crystal. He did step up for you. Good on you, Omar.
There's a quote at the end of The Alchemist that says, every single person on the planet leaves a legacy.
Yes.
We just don't know how valuable that legacy is.
So true. So true. Amen. So true.
Amen, brother.
So
Amen,
true.
sister.
Yes. I have to go. I'll be
And you
late
go.
to my meeting. So, thank you. What a great happiness
Good to
talk.
see
Can we do a
you.
three-way kiss?
Happiness talk today.
Mwah. Good on you, Tay.
Thanks for joining us today, everybody. It was really great to see so many people
Fantastic.
on.
We had a
And
fat time.
so you're not here Friday?
I'm not here for the next 3 Fridays.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
we might be
see you,
doing
Donna.
remote. We might be doing remote. Bye, Donna. Have a good night, hey?
So I'm okay Friday hours if they're remote. 'cause
Yeah,
I
we can do
work out how
remote.
to be
Let's do
remote.
that. We haven't done that for a little while since
Yeah.
I was in hospital, I think.
So Donna,
Oh, no,
is
we did that.
4 o'clock next Friday could be okay. We'll do it remote.
Have
If
a
you're here
wonderful
for us.
weekend, Crystal, and everybody
In my
else.
man
And
bag
thank
is a
you for
book for that
watching.
lady too. Just
And
there,
watch
so
Collateral
go
Beauty. And
for it.
we are
Collateral
going
Beauty
to be
next
doing
Friday.
some
We're
remote.
So
Well,
are you
we
going to
can
commit
do-
to watching
yeah,
this movie?
But aren't we on Caloundra on the next...
2 weeks.
Yeah,
We'll
we can do it from
Caloundra.
So not this. We'll be on this Friday remotely. The following
Next Friday,
weekend,
we're
we're
at
gonna.
Caloundra.
We
We'll
should
do
do
it
a
from
few
there.
over that weekend. I
We
reckon
will.
will do a few lives
Well,
that
we're
weekend.
going to have a lot. See, what people don't know is in our VIP group for that for our clients, which Ross is one of. We're going to live stream the whole event.
Wow.
So that the VIPs and little Taylor Davis is actually going to be there live streaming our whole event for us.
Yes.
So every speaker there is going to learn how to speak, and they're going to
She
have
did her
that.
introduction video this
She
week.
did.
She's
She
a
did
great,
guy.
young-
She's
she's
special.
a great girl.
She's
And she's kicking goals at uni by the sounds of it.
so nuts. And so we're gonna live stream that whole event.
And we'll
So
do this live, not this
From there.
coming weekend. The following, we'll do it live from the
from
Sunshine
the-
Coast.
Oh, a few. Right, team. Be good. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a great weekend.
Speak soon.
Mwah.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.